my anecdotal number is around 85% of the adults in the school system has been vaccinated, but we don't know for sure, given that it has not been required. But 100% of adults who work in the school district have been given the opportunity. And like I was saying earlier, as of today, students 12 and up will be given the opportunity with a parent present or guardian present to give consent. But we're having mobile vaccination clinics that are going to go to 250 middle school and high schools over the coming weeks to try to vaccinate all of our students who are eligible.
You mentioned just now in passing that because the vaccines are not yet fully approved by the FDA, they're all technically experimental, you're barred from mandating. So that does raise the question, once they are approved, and I think Pfizer, for one, has already put in its application and expects to get full approval in the next month or so, will it be the LAUSD policy to mandate that every teacher, unless there's some medical reason not to, is fully vaccinated?
I can foresee that in the future. I don't know that that's going to happen this summer or even the fall. We're really looking at what the state's doing. I mean, same with student vaccinations for measles, smallpox, polio. It's state law that mandates that. It's state law that mandates background checks for teachers, fingerprinting, and that we adhere to. So I don't anticipate that LA Unified will be a first mover there. I think we'll see what other school districts do and what the state requires. But I do, it maybe not come August, but come January of 2022, I could see that being a requirement. I think right now we're just continuing to educate communities about the importance of vaccines, providing the vaccines to the communities, and really hoping that folks get vaccinated. But we haven't yet made the decision or really even discussed explicitly when we would make the decision about mandating vaccines.
Nick, thank you for joining us today on In Depth.
Thanks for having me.
Nick Malvoin, elected member of the LAUSD Board of Education.
Coming up 1 year after the death of George Floyd.
Look!
It's just different.
Let me explain something to you motherfuckers. You can't make that shit permanent. You can't require shit. NBA ain't approved it. For good reason. It sounds like treason. Look. I'ma need 10 to 15 years before I thinking about filling my ears with the bullshit. Pull it. LAUSD, what you mean to me? I hope they defund you motherfuckers and give it to the police. You think I'm playing? I'm not though. This whole shit got me hot, yo. Following the money and never let me down. It might sound funny at first, but the longer you listen, you're realizing that every good Christian and every good citizen is on the mission. For what? To virtue signal season. We're gonna have Thanksgiving, Christmas. What's on your wish list? I'm not buying no custom masks, the medical blue ones, and that's all you getting. Gas, lit, I don't give a shit. You ain't gonna stick me in my arm. Look here, I used to be your moderate, but no longer. You gotta pick a side. You know why? I can't let this shit fly. Nigga, you grounded. Like the 737, whatever the fuck, them planes that just flew into the ground. You know why? They pushed the update and didn't tell the pilot till it was too late. You're playing with people live. Where you delegate? Missing in action. Where your tires missing traction. I don't give a fuck if I'm the smallest piece of the pie, the tiniest fraction. I'm comfortable being on my lonesome, making calls for me and my family. I'm the leader of this shit. You can't handle me, meaning I don't have a handler. Check your Gregorian calendar. How come the first day of spring is not the new year? Think. It's not illegal yet. Shout out to Eddie Griffin and his cool YouTube channel where he talking shit, get drunk, and talk about economics. The Global Economic Forum. Who is on first? Not the CDC, and you don't know me. I hope I never see face-to-face Fauci. He got a spitting image. To the princess, the lady of charity. What's her name? Is she a saint? The world's mother, Teresa. Why you ain't get back to her brother? I know so many scholastically smart people, but they common sense is equal to a bottle of whatever they use to fill up pens and pencils I abuse. These words, these metaphors, I'm in the flow state just to get ahead of yours. Oh shit, Mike Luch, open up a cipher. I think I gotta try to add my own little flair to it. I feel like the lost member of G Unit. Good God. Look here, USD. I got a problem with you motherfuckers. You know what that problem is? Y'all niggas think y'all God. Y'all niggas ain't God. Y'all motherfuckers is in charge of babysitting the children of lukewarm parents that unfortunately are in a 9-to-5 scenario. That's about all y'all good for. My favorite unintended consequence of the so-called pandemic of 2020 was the fact that I didn't have to attend any weddings. But you know what? I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that the other unintended consequence of this COVID-19 pandemic, here in the United States anyway, is the dismantling of the public school system. I understand that is in direct opposition to the income of my own fucking household. I understand that. But I am a man, and a man must stand for truth. Make sure your students are vaccinated if they come to school. And while they're here, you have to sign over your rights so we can do whatever we want, medically speaking. We can give them hormones or birth control or fucking COVID-19 vaccines or whatever the fuck. When I was in school, I couldn't even use my own goddamn inhaler. Albuterol inhaler. It's a bronchodilator is what that is. Ask fucking questions. Do you know what an inhaler is for asthma? Do you know what it is? It's basically methamphetamine, right? It's a stimulant. Opens up your lungs, your airways, so you can breathe. That's what it does. You know those nebulizers with the mist that you breathe in, you know? It's not oxygen. It's albuterol. Same thing, stimulant. Makes you feel a little hyper. Helps you breathe, opens your airways. I don't know how you explain it on a chemical cellular level, but it works. Did you know? You ever go to the dentist and they give you the shot in your gums to numb you? I believe it's lidocaine, cocaine, lidocaine. Can tell a lot by just how a word is made up. I'm about to buy this book on etymology. Shout out to Jim Bob. I'm going to buy this book. Spelling Bee Champion. 1988 or 89. This is at my school, my class, whatever. Spelling. How you spell a word. What words do you use to make a spell? Lidocaine. Did you know that there's also epinephrine in those shots to numb your gums before they drill into your teeth? Suck the pulp out. Root canal. I might need one. That's why it's on my mind. My son had his first filling. I held his hand. Comforted him. while these professionals stuck a needle in his gums and he cried. Sucked. Being a parent is difficult. Very rewarding, though. You know who is not your parent? The fucking government. Your local municipality. Your representatives. Those are not your parents. They work for you. Why are you letting them tell you what to do? Where is your agency, people? Why can't you think for yourself? It's a rhetorical question. I need some dental work done. Before I get it done, I'm going to ask a few questions. I always ask a lot of questions. I'm a journalist, so I ask a lot of questions. Okay? Anecdotally, I heard today somebody got a shot, and I guess the needle was manufactured in China, and the needle broke off in their arm. It's a friend, someone I know, like, and trust. Just a little sidebar. No conclusions to be made. Just a little anecdote. I love anecdotes. Studies, not so much. Anecdotes over time synthesized by knowledgeable people that are not compromised. That's what I like. That's the data that helps and guides my decisions. Can you feel me? I'm really not interested in these seasonal virtue signalings that I see coming down the pike. Correct me if I'm wrong. These non-FDA approved, authorized for emergency use inoculations, intramuscular shots, vaccinations, mRNA technology creations that I guess has been around since the early 70s. But it's the first time it's been used on humans. Where's the trials? I don't know. I almost don't give a fuck. You can't substitute enthusiasm for the passage of time. You can't do that. You can't convince me quickly. All right? I'm going to need time to pass. Period. Correct me if I'm wrong on the timeline here. 15 days of flattening curve. Day after my birthday, March 19th, 2020. California, 15 days of flattening curve. We can do it. Stay home. Except if you work in finance or groceries or transpo or Hollywood or anything else. What's good? Didn't work. Oh, it sucks. I got no beds. I got no ICU beds. We don't really know what this is. I'm sure somebody does. We don't know. We're just guessing. People can't breathe too well. SARS, respiratory something syndrome. Fuck. Might as well put them on a ventilator. Might as well. Give them a little oxygen. It's not working. Put them on a ventilator. Put them in a coma. Steady breath. Steady breath. Lungs filling with fluid. Hypothetically speaking, allegedly, if I was sick to that degree, I would need to spit out some sputum, some phlegm. And if it's green, I know I have an infection. If it's yellow, I know I have a milder infection. If it's clear, I know that I've just got some congestion. Common sense. Lifetime of asthmatic symptoms. You dig? Why you go from 0 to ventilator? Why the fuck would you do that? It makes no sense. Got oxygen? Change the percentage. BiPAP, CPAP, steady flow. Assistance, not breathing for you, right? Keep your agency, keep your options open. I need to spit. Got the dentist. I need to spit. I need to get this phlegm out of my lungs. I don't know how that works. They got suction in there too? I don't know how that shit works. How many people died of COVID in the first, let's see, it was here when, October 19? October, November, December, January, February, March. First 6 months. No, sorry. I don't know the timeline exactly, but how many people, when they were counting and using those numbers, the statistics of death, using those numbers to justify continued lockdowns, okay, during that time. How many people died in the hospital while on a ventilator versus how many people died at home while taking care of themselves or a loved one's taking care of them? Just a general statement, just general. And if they did die at home, how did they count them as COVID deaths? I'm just curious. I'm just wondering. Before they knew what the results of the tests meant, did they go back and change the statistics? Once they figured out what a positive test meant, if it was an antigen test or an antibody test, was that ever corrected? How do they count the flu deaths every year? Seasonally? They restart it? They recount it? Or do they start from the beginning of time and just keep counting all the flu deaths? The ends justify the means, right? Why did people accept a shelter-in-place lockdown nationwide? Why? What was the justification? There's no vaccine available. You've got to stay in your home. We've got to shut the country down. That was the justification, right? There's no vaccine available. Why do we need a vaccine? Well, what did Bill Gates say? Because 2 million people, being conservative, 2 million Americans are going to die. Did they ever sniff 2 million? Even with, yes, there was over-reporting. Yes, there was under-reporting. Sure, who knows? Let's go with what they got. How many people died of COVID? Not with COVID. Not 85 and was going to die in a few months anyway. Not those. Under retirement age that died. How many? I don't know. Do you know? I don't know. How many? I'm not sitting here saying that it's not real, that people didn't die. I'm not saying that people are not sick. I'm not saying that it's not a threat. Public health, public safety. Hey, 40-year-olds learned how to wash their hands for the first time properly. People give each other space, personal space, in public places. Common decency. Should have been doing it the whole time. Unintended consequence? I don't know. I have an iPhone. I'm glad I don't get those notifications anymore. Hey, you might be exposed. You want to click on here and give us access to your... I'm glad I'm not getting those anymore. Social dilemma. Why 6 feet? Why? Why 6 feet? When you sneeze, what happens? It comes out at what, 100 miles an hour? I don't know. Little particle. How does GPS work? How do they locate where you are? You know, like the technology when former President Obama was authorizing drone strike after drone strike after drone strike. How do they know where to aim the drones? Cell phones. And they can get it, they can triangulate the location within, I don't know, what are you guessing? 5-6 feet? Seems arbitrary, who knows? I'm just giving information and sharing anecdotes and things that I've heard, things that I've learned. I don't have any conclusions for you. Not enough time has passed. Not enough data is available. Fauci testified in front of Congress last year. What, March 2020? What did he say? What did he say about the fatality rate? What did he say? Did he say 10 times more deadly than the flu? Was that based on a infection fatality rate? case fatality rate, what was it based on? What number was that? What statistic was he actually giving you? I know if you were comparing SARS-CoV-2 to the seasonal flu, you were a pariah. You were censored. You were demonetized. You were deplatformed. No longer. Wonder why. It's because they want you to get a COVID-19 shot every year, and that is similar to the flu. Did you know that they put the H1N1 in the seasonal flu vaccine that 1 year? Did you know that in 2016 when influenza A had an outbreak, that was the first year that Kaiser Permanente did their biggest marketing push for free flu vaccines? Did you know that? 25% of people that were under a stay-at-home order never left their home all year. 25%. I didn't know that. What are you not getting when you don't leave your house? You're not getting any sun, vitamin D. You're not getting any exercise, not properly anyway, fresh air, will to live, sanity. You're not getting those things. You're not. Sociability. I would love to see the real numbers of the collateral damage, people that died or had their life ruined because of the lockdown, side by side with the number of people under the age of retirement that lost their life to COVID and COVID primarily. I would love to see those numbers. I am not negating the seriousness of the illness. I'm simply questioning the justification for the actions that were taken. I'm curious. I'd like to know. I'd like people to be making decisions based on actual, factual data. Is that too much to ask? So these vaccines that are not FDA approved but were granted emergency use, why were they granted emergency use authorization? Why? Let's put a pin in that. The testing. Why was the testing not available to everyone? Why? Why couldn't you just go down to CVS and get a test for free like you can get the fucking vaccine? Why? Is it because that it was labeled a medical device instead of a public safety, a public health tool? Like Narcan, things that help people come back from an overdose? You should go look that up right now. Medical device, public health, public safety tool. And the implications for putting it behind a paywall like Patreon or an insurance company. When you test positive for COVID, what does that mean? Especially if you don't have symptoms. What does that mean? You pre-symptomatic? About to be contagious? Got antigens, got antibodies? Do you know? Does anybody know? I tested positive. Oh, how? For what? What kind of test? I don't know. It's positive. Jesus Christ. Mind you, I'm not negating it. I'm questioning it. Ask questions. Ask more questions. Ask more questions. 10 times more deadly than the flu. That's the justification. Oh, why were they granting emergency use authorization? Emergency use authorization. Because, go look at the FDA website. It says, amongst other things, there are no available treatment options. Not other vaccines. There's no treatment options. There's no treatment options available. Therefore, we will grant this emergency use. But what of the efficacy? There are a dozen, I'm being conservative, there are a dozen treatment options. There's so many symptoms. There's so many different types of people, so many different comorbidities and blood types and environmental factors. There's so many different treatment options. OTC, man, you know me, man. Holistic remedies from Whole Foods and your local drugstore, sunlight and more, vitamin C, some produce, score. There's some other pharmacological interventions that I'd rather not say, like my video to stay up on YouTube, but it rhymes with sliverflectin, slidroxychloroquine, amongst others, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, buterol, prednisone, motherfucking so many things. UV light. Let's try those first, shall we? What does your doctor tell you before giving you antibiotics? Try this, this, and this first. We don't want to overprescribe. We want to go nuts. We don't want to overreact. It's infuriating, man. If you can't control the narrative, control the people, and vice versa. If you can't control the data, control what the implications of the data are. And people will just fall in line, lockstep, no problem. Crazy, crazy, crazy. What about the long hauler syndrome? You know, these physicians, I don't think, to keep their job, I don't think, well, they got to, Black Lives Matter, got to do that. Got to keep your job, right? Got to use the right pronouns, right? Got to do those things, obviously. Keep your job, keep your job. I don't think you're allowed to say anything other than, if somebody poses a question, if you should get the vaccine, and if so, which one is it safe for me? Unless you're immunocompromised, of course, they can only say one thing. Yes, get it. When, as soon as you can, as soon as it's available. Which one? Doesn't matter, just get it. I don't think they're allowed to say anything else. The more educated, the more decorated, the more specialized, the less likely they are to be able to help you with sound, holistic advice. Just handcuffed. Can't keep their job otherwise, so keep that in mind. I heard a doctor from Europe asking a group of United States physicians why they weren't giving every patient high doses of vitamin C, zinc, if they were deficient in vitamin D. Why are you guys not doing these very basic, common sense therapeutics? Why? Crickets. Nothing. No answer. And one of the young doctors said, well, we haven't the time or the money to conduct large-scale peer-reviewed studies, so there just isn't the data. It's tragically hilarious. It's tragically hilarious. Yep, that's why. That's why. That's why we're here. Because Fauci, using jargon, deceit, and his position and his seat as the nation's number one virologist, champion of gain-of-function study, raiser of capital for gain-of-function study, taking zoonotic viruses and making them stronger. For what? For why? Whatever he said, just believe it. Just believe it. How did he get his position? How did he impress the nation and become America's doctor? Why, of course, his amazing and accurate work on the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Go look that up. See what that's all about in your spare time. How do you make it mandatory? How do you make the vaccine mandatory to go to school? Vaccine passport. What the fuck is a vaccine passport? What the fuck is a real ID? What the fuck are we doing? To those of you choosing to get the vaccine without question, as soon as you possibly can, good luck and Godspeed. For those of you refusing the vaccine under any circumstance whatsoever, good luck and Godspeed. For the cognitively aware, unimpaired, critically thinking individual, let's chat. Let's continue the conversation. Let us take the advice of highly specialized, highly educated people with a grain of salt. Let us listen to the treating physicians who see thousands of patients, a la the 2 doctors from Kern County that were ridiculed, censored, labeled quacks, deplatformed. You remember. Proved to be correct. Don't hear about that much, do you? They gave you some very sound statistics. They said, this is what's going on, this is what we're seeing. Thousands of patients. It sucks, but no lockdowns. You don't need masks outside, you fucking morons. You don't need masks when you're in the car by yourself, you fucking morons. I'm paraphrasing, of course. We need more generalists, people that can take the very myopic, specialized information that's coming from these virologists, immunologists, public health, public safety officials, governing bodies. Think about the diffusion of responsibility. Think about the litigious nature. Think about the protection granted to the manufacturers of these things. Follow the money. Assume that people will act in their own best interest until they prove otherwise. When people show you who they are, goddammit, believe them. Take them at their word. Fauci's a fucking liar. He said so himself. Take agency back over your own health. Understand how your immune system is educated by design. Just think about it. Just think about it. And then come back in 10 to 15 years when time passes. And let's talk about the birth defects. Let's talk about the fertility issues. Let's talk about the clotting. Let's talk about the surprisingly continual cases of transmission, mutation, etc. Come back in 10 to 15 years and let's discuss that. Alright? Sound like a plan? Nice. I got things to do. I gotta go eat. Say what's up to my children. If anybody vaccinates my children without my knowledge or permission, I will fucking kill you. Allegedly. I'm working on a script. That was a line from a script that I'm writing. Science fiction. Like Black Mirror. Remember that episode? Where there were these soldiers, right? They were being trained, the enemy and all this, and they developed these goggles that they would wear, and it would show you, who was the enemy and who wasn't. Remember that episode? I'd go rewatch that if I were you. Just a thought. You know what song I've really been enjoying lately? It's called Drank. It's instrumental. And it goes a little something like this. Shout out to Odd Status. Yeah, he's the man. I'm so glad I found his channel. I I hate to be on a panel of judges. Supreme Court, that's the SCOTUS. Shout out to the former VP, Mr. Biden, Kamali. That's a nickname I just gave her. The fellow waffle color, racially ambiguous individual that turned into a criminal. I don't know any career politicians that's on a righteous, indignant mission. Never ask for permission, only for forgiveness. Yeah. I call myself a Christian because I'm trying to be Christ-like. He wasn't always nice. He wasn't always here to give you advice that you wanted to hear. Sometimes you gotta strike fear in the hearts of men. Yeah. The Don Cartagena compartmentalization. Yeah, it's nice to meet you. It's freestyle fresh. Every time you greet me, say what's up or what's good. Anything else is not acceptable. You know those fake movie needles that's retractable? Mariah Carey trying to convince all the followers to do like she did. Lockstep. Shout out to all my Canadian friends. I hope your values and your health don't bend, especially break. What you doing for lunch these days? I like to have smoothies, veggies. How much nutrition is really in it when it's subsidized and it's certified organic? You should check out the parameters just to qualify. It's bananas with no seeds. Oh, please, give me what I need. Get down on your knees. Raise a fist if you want to keep your business. Shout out to the anniversary of the George Floyd riots. And rest in peace to Robert Fuller, Palmdale, California. Whee! Remember fake news or the just different outlets of media. I prefer the independent type, but I consume all of them fools. The emotional people on the left, the stoics on the right, all the people with a punchable face. It's weird. You can just kind of sense, taste, and smell empirically how they would vote, how they feel. And I'm really looking forward to Nancy Pelosi growing that fifth eyebrow or a horn. It's freestyle fresh. These are just opinions. They do not reflect the opinions of the platform herein. The employer. I don't have an employer. Get the fuck out of here. Freestyle fresh. Morgan Freelance. Come on now. Check me out on the Bars app. I love the Bars app. We freestyle. We sing. We're a community. It's really awesome. Creativity. Get yourself some exercise. Don't forget. Give your body, give your mind, give your spirits, your family, your community, the things it needs to fight the dis-ease. Love.